spending his time at hackathons, developer conferences, and hacking on stuff. Today, he's going to talk about the tools that we need to use in order to create a progressive web apps. And I think the name that he got to the talk is very creative. Please let me introduce you Mark Elsmore.
Okay, fine. Whoa, shit. Sorry, wasn't expecting that at all. Heart attack. There we go. Right. Does anybody get this reference at all? It's like the worst Britney Spears reference the planet has ever seen. Not a single chuckle in the crowd. Oh, at least one. Yeah, that's a start. Right. So this is me. All those contactable information is down there. Feel free to send me any questions, etc. with bigger form stuff over Twitter. Whoa. At any time. I am supposedly the internet's Muppet, and somebody won't let that go. I also have to be working for this place called Pact. Now, Pact are a publishing company, of technology books. Anybody heard of them? Yeah, at least a few people have heard of Pact. You work there, that does not count. But they gave me some gifts to give out, so I've got some stickers in my bag, and if anyone wants a giant discount on one of their subscriptions, just take a photo of that. Yeah, nobody's going to take a photo. Well, one person's taking a photo of that. There we go. It's a big old discount off their subscription package. Right. So, what the hell is this talk about? Well, oh my God, it's about progressive web apps. Hands up, everybody. Just hands up. Just hands up. Come on, not everybody. Still, hands up. Hands up. There we go. Who the hell has a clue what I'm talking about? Leave your hand up. All right, so I'm actually going to be giving some information to people. It's not just I'm going to be talking and you're all going to be ignoring me. Right, so let's break it down. What is a progressive web app? Well, drum roll. Okay, I'll do it. It's a web app. There is nothing special about it beyond the fact that it is a web app. It's that easy. I'll just leave now. Supposedly I still have 37 minutes to give. So seriously, it's just a web app. It has just a lot of added extras. So not this kind of added extra, that's a very different kind of added extra. More like this Swiss Army knife. It's bits of extra pieces that make things work better. So the whole point of a progressive, it's progressive. So the commandment is build JavaScript and frameworks, use React and Angular, etc. Make things JavaScripty and load fast. You don't have to. Everything is progressive. The internet started with HTML, then CSS, then JavaScript, and now offline databases, etc., etc. You just keep adding the bits that make your applications better. You don't have to make it all whiz-bangery first. So when you think about progressive web apps, it's incremental. You don't have to do it all, and you don't have to do it all immediately. But if you do want to be classified as a PWA according to browsers, etc., you kind of do need to fill the basics. So the internet was, I may be talking faster than my own slides. It's very odd not having a clicker. This is very bad. The internet was created without JavaScript first, so just build it incrementally. Whole point, it's progressive. So, everybody agree with this? Or is everybody going, shut up, let me build my React app and go away? Okay, I'm getting nothing. So just keep adding the bits you need. So to be a progressive web app, you need to have certain characteristics. Well, basically characteristics are progressive, so enhanced. It should be able to work without them. Responsive, so, responsive design works on the mobile, etc., etc. Connectivity, app-like, fresh, safe, discoverable, re-engageable, and installable. This is really awkward. Right, and linkable. So the web, you're meant to be able to share the URLs. The whole point of a URL structure is it's easy to hand out to everybody else. So, linkable. So this tech most of this tech has actually existed for quite a while, whilst not being part of the PWA structure. It's just been a bunch of W3C specs. So, yeah. What specs make up the requirements for a PWA? I am talking really quickly. Am I talking really quickly? I've just realized, yeah. Do I need to slow down? A lot. Yeah. Cool.
Take a break. Like here in Transylvania, we speak very slowly. We give people time to think, just embrace the Transylvania spirit in you. You can do it.
Am I being trolled by the person who's moderating the chat? That's a whole new level. Thanks. Right. Right, so far we've got, it's a whole bunch of specifications that make it do something. Everybody cool with that? This is me engaging with you. You need to give me something back or I'm going to get stuck. Okay? There we go. So it must be secure. Everything, all the basics for the browser specs are it must be hosted over HTTPS, which means if you've got any form of HTTP request, it should redirect into a HTTPS request. Pretty much the only way you can get around this is by using localhost. And if you're going to be hosting a website on your laptop, I think you've done something wrong. Building it on your website, on your laptop, great. Hosting it, you may want to rethink that strategy. Includes HTTP redirects to HTTPS. So 2, must be discoverable. Now this is actually quite an old spec, which I can't actually remember when it was released, but it's via a web manifest. So with most manifest files, YAML, etc., it just, this case they're JSON because internet. It just describes the application, gives it some basic information, and makes it so that the browser knows what piece of information to display for later on. So favicons, correct sizes, etc., it can reuse for bookmarking, name, short name for when it's too long, colors to match up things. So marketing can be happy with branding works. The best resource I've ever seen for it is the Mozilla Dev Docs. It's really quite comprehensive. It even goes full like RFC spec level at points, which is a bit nutty. And it essentially looks like this. It's just a link tag in the top of your page, which then points out to a manifest file. Most of the time it's just manifest.json. I have a bad habit of calling it web manifest so I don't confuse it with every other JSON file I have. And it's just a basic structure of its name, short name, what the URL it starts with, in what format it will look in a Chromeless header, colors, descriptions, and you can even hook it up to related apps. So if your site happens to have an Android app somewhere in the ether, you can tell them, oh great, you can have a native experience. You shouldn't need to because it's a progressive web app, but you can have a native application. And then the big kahuna is have and use Serviceworker. Pardon? Can I speak in order? Jesus, no. No, that's way too loud. Right, so have and use Serviceworker APIs. Everybody aware of what a Serviceworker is? I'm pretty sure anything with the web, you're aware of what it is, Dan. That's a pointless task. So what is a service worker? Well, the easiest way to think of it is it's a background thread that's processing in the browser. So for decades, the browser has done all the grunt work in synchronous and asynchronous threads in the front end. This just lets you somewhere to offload stuff. There's also web workers, which are the same principle, but a different implementation, essentially. But yeah, so it's a worker thread. How do you actually use it? Well, you just register it. You do have to do some browser detection, etc., because not all browsers were created equal. Safari. Oh yeah, I need to cough at that point. Safari. I don't like it. It's like the new i6. So you have to be able to register it. So a little bit of browser detection, and then inside of it, this is a ridiculously basic service worker. You're just dictating a bunch of files to cache. Now the big point, one of the big points of a progressive web app is it should be able to work and give a 200 when you're offline. So just having a basic cache in there, which is, if I remember correctly, that's like 25 lines of code. And it's like, oh, finally, an offline app without having to use app cache, which is the most painful activity on the planet. So what else can service workers do? Well, there's caching, fetching, so just doing URL requests and manipulating them, syncing, so just taking information from the background and continuously reloading it into your application seamlessly. This one's quite hard to do because there's a whole principle of idempotent information between synchronized systems, so your browser essentially becomes a node. It's very difficult if you're actually trying to push information back and forth that's operational. And there's push as well, so you know those wonderful websites that are currently going, would you like us to present more information for you for no apparent reason with a little pop-up? And you immediately click no, that bit. And there's a whole bunch of extras, like I believe it's still experimental, but there's the web share API. Still experimental, isn't it?
It's experimental, yeah.
But it's amazing. There's some wonderful documentation done by a guy called Phil Nash from Twilio around wrapping it in web components, etc., and making it easily accessible and reusable. There is a whole slew of APIs that you can access, manipulate, and play around with in service workers to improve or just do nutty things. And what about the tools? So I did say this, it's kind of important. There are plenty of tools, but there is essentially one big one, and it's called Lighthouse. Anybody heard of this? Right, so more people have heard about Lighthouse, the tool that was built to help support PWAs, than have actually heard about PWAs. That's weird. It's officially nuts. But essentially, this is a project that was started by Google, but is essentially not their property anymore, because they've just said, here, internet, start adding tests to this random test rig that's going to test for PWAs. So there's quite a lot of work that's been done by, I believe, Samsung's done some. I know that Firefox have got a few paint tests in there that have been submitted, and, well, the rest of the internet have submitted a bunch of stuff. So it's this quite comprehensive list of tests, and it's completely expandable. It comes as a Chrome extension, which means it builds into your audit trail in the browser. It comes as a CLI tool, which is brilliant because that means you can even put it in your test rigs. So if you don't pass the tests, you could fail the build and make every developer cry. And you can also run it as a standalone application as well, if I remember correctly. And it's also an NPM module, I think. Should double check that before I gave the talk. But we're now going to do something, so that's quite a lot of information that I have said very, very quickly. I think at this point I'm going to ask, what made no sense? Everybody's just sat there like, it's like you're not even paying attention. That's cruel. Okay, so does everything make sense so far? You understand what the basic principles are? It isn't, PWA is not a thing in itself, it is just a bunch of tools and specifications that get slapped together, and it does things that make things magical, unicorns and rainbows. Yeah? Do you see the point of using one at all? Still getting nothing from the right-hand side of the room. It's like, I've got chuckles over here and nothing over there. I'm loud. Hi, do you guys understand what I'm talking about? Okay, cool, so, just checking. Right, so, what do we actually do with all this junk? Just gonna take a moment and actually prep this bit because I'm now scared and terrified. It's, actually, yeah, let's do this bit. Are there any questions so far? Anything that doesn't quite make sense with me just rambling at slides? Okay, and I've also just remembered I have forgotten an entire slew of my talk. Because I used Reveal.js and forgot that there's this bit down here that actually describes the points. So let's fix that bit. Right, progressive, works for every user. It's, as I said, loads it, runs it. Responsive, works regardless of the browser it's being run in. Connectivity independent, i.e., your internet disappears, it still works. App-like, so pretty much every modern web app does this anyway. They're still trying to fake being an application on your desktop, etc. So, feels like an app. It's fresh, so the information should always be updated and more current. So the best example of a PWA that is always current is actually Twitter's. Twitter has Twitter Lite, which is a brilliant PWA. It's their entire application just wrapped up, and it's completely fresh. It has seamless interaction. It feels like their actual Twitter app, to the point where it's now my default on my mobile phone. Safe, everything served over HTTPS. Discoverable, that web manifest tells the browser how to behave and how to make it shareable with everything else. Re-engageable, i.e. somebody should actually want to flipping come back to your website. They give them a reason, make it so that it actually does something. Installable, so that's once again part of the manifest process. It allows it to be installed as a local link to the home screen install process. And linkable, once again, shareable URLs. It's the whole point of the website, the web people. It's the reason they made it human readable rather than IPs. Right, now I've caught up with myself. I now need to go back to the dangerous bit, to the point where I actually left myself in a danger zone, so I know when I've got to do this bit. I'm sweating up here because I'm actually stressed that this is going to go horribly wrong. Right, so we have the website I've been building recently, really basic, just an information site for a conference I run. It's also the only website I have access to the source to, and is simple to do in 20 minutes. So I'm just going to run a Lighthouse report on there, which does take a moment. It's not the fastest thing on the planet, and just see how badly I suck as a developer. I'm going to go with quite badly, because I have very little faith in myself. And whilst this is going, I'm just going to do some dancing on stage. Wow, this is taking forever. More dancing. There we go. Right, so I've got some green on there, but the important one's the PWA piece for this talk is a fail. There's no manifest, there's no service worker that doesn't work offline. Anything else? Oh, and the bottom one, which is a viewport thing, which I stuck with breakpoints, so I'm not going to try and fix that. But whilst Dan was talking and I realized I should really prepare for this, I actually just made a pull request on myself, because trying to live code a service worker, I imagine so many typos, it's not worth the effort. So we can actually just merge that and wait for GitHub to do its thing, and just have a look. So all we're doing is, in the JavaScript, we are registering the service worker, and so we know it's doing its thing. In the headers, we're adding the manifest, and we're giving it all the shareable information. That's just a tag include. That's a manifest I didn't realize I had there. Pardon? Is that zoomed enough for you? Right, is that better? Is that more readable? Right, let's go back again. So manifest, oh, that is huge. Okay, fair enough. Just registering it, making sure it's available and working. All the content that's shareable, part of the manifest, just links into the templates. Here's the manifest itself, just some basic information, where it all belongs, assets, etc. And then here's the cache. So I'm just telling it for every page that I know exists, cache it in advance, and every file, everything, just grab it and dump it. And then just the actual caching mechanism itself. So you open it, you have to invoke the install, and actually tell it to open the cache, drop everything in there. And then you use the fetch API to listen for the events, so when something comes in, you can then actually present it from the cache or fresh content from the interwebs. Right, now, in theory, this should have updated. So I go sw.js, just to double check. There we go, there is a service worker on the site. Just to double check it's actually working, check the console. Open the cache. What? Uncorp. Oh. You know what I was saying before about dangerous and everything going wrong? Yep, I think we've hit that one. All right, let's see if we pass the Lighthouse test any better. And there we go. Or I could not click the button. Right, whilst we wait for that to happen and I stand here feeling very, very nervous about this. Because 2 of my colleagues are in the front row, and I am not going to hear the end of this for weeks. Especially as I've been screaming about, let's rebuild our stuff as a progressive web app for about 6 months, and yeah, this is not going to end well for me. I think it... Come on, come on, come on, come on. How did it get worse? My brain is having difficulty processing that this got worse. Right, now this is why I'm sensible-ish. And have you ever seen a speaker panic on stage because everything has gone wrong? I'm seriously getting trolled by the person meant to be protecting me from you people. Right, let's try this again. Serving it from my laptop, you know, the thing I said not to do. Oh, it would help if I could type HTT. Right, so we have a working copy of it. And if I roll that thing, and see what happens. If this doesn't work, I'm officially going to quit and work behind a bar. Does anybody know a bar that's hiring? I'll tell you as a no. Oh, this is appalling. I apologize, everybody. Honest to God, I tested this before I gave this talk whilst Dan was speaking, because I thought, right, you know what, I should check this is going to work. Should have had a QA. Yeah, the camera's over there. Right, so in theory, I have a service worker, and I have manifest. So it should have registered a manifest with name, short name, and URL, which it could use as shareable information. So actually, that would be probably useful to explain that. So in this horrible, horrible thing that is not working, just registering a service worker, we know that works. I saw the service worker opening up. That should work. Yeah, that obviously was a bad fail. 3G, I've got so many oversized PNGs, that's not worth considering. Custom domain splash, it had the content for that. In theory, all that code, which is on GitHub so somebody can go and comment and tell me where I've got horribly wrong, is there. I'm not dealing well with this. So, that was a live demo. It's fine, I prepared for this moment, so I have failed you. The demo has gone horribly wrong. Do we actually have any questions of what should have happened? That's up for you now, kid. Get on your feet. I did developer testing where I turned it on and see if it worked. I would love to see if I could write a unit test in less than 15 minutes. No. But go on, you've got the mic. Is there any questions for the Internet Muppet? Because this is the proof.
I think he just wants to make me do some exercise. I'm paying for my jokes. Yes, please, questions? I'm afraid of this one.
It should have taken longer with me actually walking through the... Oh, God. Oh, God.
I'll give you 2 seconds if you pray to any god to start now. So you showed us Lighthouse, which is cool and all that. How do you actually debug? Like, your demo has gone horribly wrong. How do you actually debug that in a browser?
Well, with Firefox and Chrome, there is actually... I've not tried it in...
Show me.
Show me. Show you.
That's what's happening if you bring friends to your conference. I mean them, not me.
I have really cruel friends. Right, so with the Fetch API, you can actually just see it operating in the console, which is great, but you also have access, well, there we go, service workers. And you can actually set up the events and have it actually tracing through here. So you can do test push events, etc. How many service workers did I register before? I may have just continuously installed on them. Oops. What? No. I hate upgrading Chrome. It gives me a blooming pop-up every time. But yeah, so you can actually do update on reload, etc. There is actually some decent debugging tools. If I remember correctly, Firefox has a very good version of this as well. But I'm ridiculously ingrained in using Chrome for everything, so sorry. But does that answer your question? Seriously, does anybody know a bar that's hiring? Anything else? Any more trolling?
Just not a question, but thank you. Very brave to do a live coding demo on stage. I feel your pain. Just a comment. Another tool that's out there that people might want to check out is Sonar Wall, which is kind of a competing tool to Lighthouse. So you might want to check that out as well. That's one that we're actually contributing into. It's an open source project in the JS Foundation. Sonar Wall, sonarwhal.com.
That is not coming up in any search.
Yeah, because it's Google, right? You're searching on Google, and of course Google's going to promote Google Lighthouse. Come on.
This is the first step, one-on-one mentoring.
Pardon? More trolling! I'm going to have a complex by the end of this. Oh dear. Anyway, yeah. Anything else? Because I'm now going to go find a bar.
You got to be kidding me. I'm going straight from one corner to another.
So, two parts. One, it's more of a side note. So one of the things that I found out the hard way was the fact that if you change the service worker, it actually deregisters it.
Yeah.
Which is an important point for caching purposes.
Yeah, also making sure you actually update the cache naming convention for this, because it can look at an old dead cache at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. And the second one is a question: have you worked with what's it called? Workbox, Google's Workbox, which is their version of Service Worker plus offline caching plus.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I like kind of hand rolling it. It's therapeutic.
I get that.
So there's something nice about messing around with the APIs and just doing it yourself. The Workbox has got a nice, friendly, top-level API over the top of it. But I do like, it's kind of like when you do get media API work. It's kind of nice to just monkey around with it in the gubbins.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's actually a very good library for people who are brand new to the subject to actually just have a simplified API over the top of everything.
Okay.
Can I go, get a gin and tonic now?
Not yet, not yet.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Whilst we're waiting for that bit, I'm actually meant to be running a workshop about this stuff tomorrow, so if anybody wants to attend, there be informations. I actually have a proper curriculum for this thing. And this time I will actually QA test it, rather than hack
I'm not sold yet. I'll have to see it. Where is the workshop tomorrow?
I don't know.
Oh.
I've been told it's in Cluj. I know Cluj is not a big place, but I think it's a little bit big enough that it's not in the same building.
Okay, then we'll have to look at your Twitter. Maybe you can update us.
I know
later.
the information will be coming from there, so that's a subscription point,
Okay,
and an email will be going out to you with details.
Good to go.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Thanks, Mike.